Everyone is making predictions.
But we don't know.
And your prediction could win you a KTKZ prize pack valued at over $700.
I'm using my own money. I'm really rich.
Including a $250 gift card and front row VIP seats to our next event. Make your VP prediction at KTKZ.com.
Hey there, Keith Brooks from the Smart Energy Guys reminding you that if you go solar with Sunworks during the month of June, we're sending you and your family to Disneyland. Call for your free solar analysis. 916-409-6900. That's 916-409-6900.
If you're facing divorce, the pressure can be overwhelming. You don't need to add high legal bills to your list of things to worry about. Call Statewide Preparer Service, a sensible, affordable, non-lawyer alternative for divorce. Statewide's legal document assistants make it easy. They complete the formal paperwork and do the necessary filing for you. Best of all, divorces start in the $200 range. Take some of the stress out of an already stressful situation. Call Statewide Preparer Service today at 1-800-700-8377. 1-800-700-8377. Statewide also handles incorporations, adoptions, spousal and child support modifications, probate, deed preparation, and living trusts. Statewide is available to help you 7 days a week. So call now 1-800-700-8377. 1-800-700-8377. Online at prepservices.com. Statewide Preparer Service. 1-800-700-8377. 1-800-700-8377.
Ever wish you could sit down with a prominent lawyer, politician, or judge and ask them your questions? Champions of Justice with Tom Girardi features revealing interviews with those who make the laws and those who protect your rights through the rule of law. Champions of Justice features some of the most prominent names in the headlines. High-visibility celebrity attorneys, national and state politicians, justices involved in controversial decisions, outspoken legal thriller authors, federal prosecutors, and a few other guests who just defy any description. Unguarded, real, relaxed. You've never heard them this way before. Tom Girardi asks the questions, and you get to hear the surprising answers. And you thought the law was boring. It's always informative and never dull. Tune in Champions of Justice Saturday night at 5 and Sunday night at 10 here on AM 1380 The Answer.
Zulon Press. At Zulon Press, they make self-publishing quick, affordable, and easy. For one low price, they can publish, distribute, and market your book for you. So what are you waiting for? Call 1-866-381-BOOK.
AM 1380. The Answer.
The information you obtain from this show is not, nor is it intended to be, legal advice. You should consult an attorney for advice regarding your individual situation. We invite you to contact us and welcome your calls, letters, and emails. Contacting us does not create an attorney-client relationship. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday HOA Brunch, presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. Please sit back, relax, and join Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick for an hour of entertaining information about HOAs and HOA law.
Well, good morning, Sacramento. It is, what are we at now? Episode 70 of the Saturday HOA Brunch, going strong.
Yes, episode 70, that's right.
America's #1 community association talk radio show. We've yet to be contested.
Well, we battle hard, and today we're going to be battling not just in the realm of community associations. We're going to be veering off course a little bit, sort of the clash of two major laws, the Davis-Stirliing Act and the FHA Modernization and Reform Act of 2012.
Wow.
That's a mouthful.
That's a tongue twister. I agree. Yeah, so
FHA Modernization and Reform Act of 2012.
And it's a hot issue that we're going to tackle today.
It's a super hot issue.
Super hot issue. Well, do you want to be the one that lets
bridges
everyone
it?
know?
Yeah. So
what is it?
This is about unmanned aircraft systems. What is an unmanned aircraft system?
What's that, like a UAV? Isn't that an acronym for it too? Is a UAV? Because we don't want to say
UAV and UAS.
We don't,
UAV and UAS.
Yeah, because we don't want to get into that nasty vocabulary and use the word drone. Because when everybody thinks a drone,
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so. You know what? I don't think it's so anymore. I think what you're about to say that when people think of drones, they're thinking of those over in Iraq, Syria, Libya, where they're flying
Pakistan,
around.
we're just
right, and they're shooting or dropping bombs. Right, that type of drone. So that is not the type of drone we're going to be talking about today, though, is it?
No, I don't think so, because we do not want to have those types of drones affiliated with community associations.
Right, we're talking about private drones, not governmental, not military, not public, but private drones.
Like drones that could be used for recreation or possibly business.
Business, right.
Yeah, and a lot of people started to explore the idea of using drones.
Oh, more than that, they're exploring the use of it.
The use of it.
Oh, we're already dealing with it with our community associations. We're Angius&Terry. I am Brad Epstein. Across the way from me is Jonathan Broderick.
The young kid.
The kid. We are all about community association law, and we're going to be talking about drones today. We're going to be talking about how they affect community associations, in particular what boards of directors can do with respect to drafting rules. You could draft CC&R provisions, amendments, but we're going to be talking about drafting rules. Okay, let me ask you this. So in all the CC&Rs that you've read, Jonathan, how many drone provisions have you seen in the CC&Rs?
Rare. It's a new trend, I think, that's going to start showing up more frequently in the future. But I've got a little idea. And the idea is if someone has a story about drones flying over their community and would like to tell us about their opinion of drones, we're going to give them a little gift card for calling in and sharing their story with us. So if you want to call us, give us a call the old-fashioned way. Pick up the phone, 888-923-1380, 888-923-1380. Tell us about your drone story or your UAV story. And what was the other acronym that you used for these unmanned aircraft?
UAVs.
UAS.
Yeah, your generosity is only outweighed by your verbosity. So nice job there, Jonathan.
Well, I
you're looking
appreciate
at me
that.
like you don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm a generous guy.
How about if they text in? Let's get the technical rules on the table. You today are going to give out a gift card if someone calls in about a drone.
Right.
And you are going to give it to them if they call in at 888-923-1380, 888-923-1380. What if they text in on our text line, which is 916-747-4622, 916-747-4622.
Yeah, let's text them a
thing?
cool emoji back and say thanks. Frank, put the phone down. You can't win the gift certificate. We know you know a lot about drones,
There
so
he
just
goes.
settle down.
Frank Jolly on the sticks, always helpful to us, our engineer.
I fly a drone.
So why don't you just give the definition then of what is a drone, so that everybody can, if they haven't seen one down at Radio Shack or Best Buy or Fry's or on Amazon, give us the definition of what a drone is.
An aircraft that is operated without the possibility of direct human intervention from within or on the aircraft, without possibility of direct human intervention from within or on the air. So they are unmanned aircraft, without the possibility. And this comes right from this is a federal law. So this is a federal law, and it is a law that is for the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, to promulgate different rules in order to control this craze out there. They are selling these like crazy. People are using them like crazy.
Crashing them into things like crazy.
Well, they're I haven't heard about crashes.
Really? We did on Christmas. We were up in a community, and a family member had got one right in somebody's backyard.
Oh, you had a personal experience with
Yeah,
this?
but no damage done. We went and picked it up.
No one hurt?
Nope,
or anything
nothing.
Like that?
Yep.
Yeah, because you have these quadcopters, and we've seen them at the FC Sacramento at the soccer game.
Yeah.
Flying next to, and they're not flying directly over, I guess for the safety reasons, but these are big with cameras, and then they were videoing.
Yeah.
The soccer game, it was
You can get some
ongoing.
great footage for using a drone, an unmanned aircraft.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the new drone law? Let's get that out on the table,
All right,
Sue.
so you can't really say what is the new drone law because there are several drone laws, but the California drone law is a amendment of a previous law. It's an amendment of a previous law, and what it is it is amending Civil Code Section 1708.8. 1708.8. What is important to know and what has confused some people is that there was another bill, and it was going to make Civil Code Section 1708.8.3. That never passed. That's not the law, and that has some language about 350 feet. And so forget about that. It's only 1708.8. And here is what I find very interesting, and that is I guess let's read the law first. Okay, so what the law is, and I'll tell you this really interesting aspect.
Tell us what
of the
interests
law.
you after the law.
All right, so first the law it states as follows. A person is liable for physical invasion of privacy. For physical invasion of privacy when the person knowingly enters onto the land or into the airspace above the land of another without permission or otherwise commits a trespass in order to capture any type of visual image, sound recording, or other physical impression of the plaintiff, so this is a liability law, engaging in a private, personal, or familial activity, and the invasion occurs in a manner that is offensive to a reasonable person. So we're going to have to unpack that paragraph right there. That's an amendment of a current law. Person's liable. So for invading the privacy, when the person knowingly, so not mistakenly, knowingly, the word knowingly is used in criminal laws, in criminal laws, because there's different types of burden of proof in order to hold someone criminally liable. And you have some background in that, right?
You know what? I took a couple of junior college courses regarding criminal justice. But what we're going to do here, now that you've kind of explained this amendment to the law and what it...
I didn't explain it yet.
But you explained...
I just told everyone what it is.
You kind of opened up a can of worms right before the break. So what we're going to do then, real quick, Frank's given us the signal here that we're going to be heading to break. But I have a great story that our research writer, Mr. McPherson, found for us in regards to drones, and I think everybody's going to probably get a good laugh from it. And when we come back from the break, I want to share that story. Is that okay? And then we'll let you kind of get back into the...
Oh, absolutely.
The ins.
Because what we'll do is we'll overlay the law onto the story. Mm-hmm. In addition, we're going to talk about the different rules that we're now drafting for community associations with respect to drones, because they are becoming very popular.
Mm-hmm.
And so before we go to break, let's just go ahead and say it again. Civil Code Section 1708.8 is when you knowingly fly a drone over someone else's land, unit, lot, without permission, and in order to do some photographing of someone when they're engaging in a private, personal, familial activity in an offensive manner.
Perfect. When we come back.
That is it.
Yeah, when we
we'll
come back.
That.
Yeah, when we come back, story time in regards to drones. We're headed to break. We'll be back with you shortly.
Does your HOA community have a reconstruction or specialty project? The GB Group has been successfully serving community associations in California and Nevada for over 20 years. From renovation to reconstruction, exterior coatings and paint, ADA compliance, 24-hour emergency response, and more. Call the GB Group today, toll-free 1-800-653-7172. 1-800-653-7172. Or find them online at gbgroupinc.com. gbgroupinc.com.
If your community association has a good relationship with their current management company, you can stop listening. However, if you are struggling with your current service provider, we'd love to talk with you to see if Omni Community Management would be a good fit. Transparency, education, communication, and trust are just 4 of the qualities that set Omni apart. This is Rolf Crocker, CEO of Omni. Call us at 916-965-8964. That's 916-965-8964. Online at omni-mgt.com. That's omni-mgt.com. Omni Community Management, your friend in the community association management industry for over 20 years.
Have you ever heard of the saying, a person's home is their castle? Of course you have. But sometimes a construction defect can turn your castle into a catastrophe. If this happens to you, you need proper and professional representation. You need Angius&Terry, LLP. For over 30 years, the attorneys at Angius&Terry have been effectively serving homeowners and community associations, recovering more than $500 million on behalf of their clients. Angius&Terry strives to ensure that your construction defect claims are prosecuted in an aggressive and cost-effective manner. Angius&Terry will also continue to work with homeowners and community associations after the construction defect claims are concluded to make sure that the money received from builders is spent wisely and that your interests are protected during the repair process. Don't let a construction defect turn your castle into a catastrophe. Call Angius&Terry LLP today at 916-567-1400. That's 916-567-1400. Online at angius-terry.com. Angius&Terry LLP. Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
AM 1380, The Answer.
Welcome back, Sacramento. The Saturday HOA Brunch. Call in with your drone stories for a prize. 888-923-1380. Real quick, before we get into this news story.
Yeah, that's a neat. You have a couple neat stories.
Drones. We're talking drones. Give us that little description again.
Right, all right. Okay, so again, we have the Civil Code Section 1708.8. This is not part of the Davis-Stirliing Act, Jonathan. This is part of the Civil Code. Civil Code is pretty big, and the Davis-Stirliing Act is in the Civil Code, but it's just a small part of the Civil Code. And so we're talking about drones, and what this new law did is it amended a current law, which I'm going to talk about after your great story, and it provides that a person is liable for physical invasion of privacy when the person knowingly flies a drone over another person's lot or unit without permission and captures, right, takes a photo or video of the plaintiff. So it's a liability law. So the plaintiff would sue and the person would be liable as long as they can prove that they were being photographed or videoed when they're engaging in a private, personal, or familial activity, and the invasion occurs in a manner that is offensive to a reasonable person, So there's a couple, and that's how laws, especially criminal laws, are put together. They have these different elements. You got to prove all the elements in order to hold the person liable. And in this case, if you're able to do that, then you could really sock it to. Someone does that to you, you can really sock it to them with some really significant, real significant penalties, civil penalties, in fact. We'll talk about that in a minute. And just your general liability, invasion of privacy, and all that.
Okay, so are you ready? This isn't a new story. This is a story about drones in 2014, but it's relevant because it affected potentially one of Trump's potential vice president candidates, right? Kanye West, that he made his joke about. Yeah, so right?
I gotcha.
So Kanye.
So it's significant.
It could be significant.
We're just not talking about anyone on the street. We're talking about a potential vice president candidate.
Yeah, for the Trump. So here's the source, futuretense.com. This is from our crack reporter. So in 2014, Kanye made headlines when he said that he feared accidentally being electrocuted by an out-of-control drone. In a deposition that was later made public by the gossip site TMZ, everyone knows TMZ, right? They have the TV shows and everything about celebrities and what they're doing with their personal lives. So West implied that his family was regularly stalked by camera-equipped drones and that he worried that an incompetent paparazzi might one day lose control of his drone and cause, ooh, man, our crack reporter puts big words in some of these articles, grievous injury to West and his loved ones. So here's West. Wouldn't you like to just teach your daughter how to swim without a drone flying over? What happens if the drone falls in right next to her? It could electrocute her. So there you go. There's that stalking and trespassing.
Right. It raises a couple issues. One is, to me, is that really true? So if a drone lands in water, is it like they the old throw a toaster into a bathtub will electrocute someone? And, it must be tough to be a celebrity as well, right? You would know. So,
well, we have drones flying around all over when we come out to our cars after this show. Frank says he's consistently stalked by drones when he goes about his business.
That's a great segue into the law, Civil Code Section 1708.8. And so it was amended to be an anti-drone law last year, effective January 2016. However, get ready for the zinger. Okay, so this law was originally, 1708.8 Civil Code was introduced in 1998. And it was enacted in order to protect against the aggressive and often dangerous paparazzi-like behavior of tabloid journalists. Aggressive and often dangerous paparazzi-like behavior of tabloid journalists. And in the year preceding its enactment, so that would be 1990. I'm going to be asking you a question.
Well, I know for a zinger, but this just reminds me of that horrific accident that happened with the princess, right? Because all of the paparazzi that were chasing her. Isn't that one of the reasons?
You just stole my thunder.
Did I?
That was it. I was going to ask you what significant event occurred. Who was of great significance? Who was killed or died in 1997? And that is Lady Diana, Princess of Wales, had been killed in a paparazzi auto chase. And the public became increasingly outraged about intrusive tabloid journalism. Do you remember what happened? You were young at the time.
I was in diapers running around with carrots in my hand.
You were 7 years old or something like that?
I don't remember. Let me get my calculator out. I was young, but it was significant because I remember. That's like the other day I go, remember Humphrey the Whale? Not as significant. I don't want to steal your thunder, but I was young.
Are you comparing Humphrey the Whale to the tabloid journalist?
Not at all.
No,
not at all.
Not at all. But we do remember Humphrey the Whale, right?
Exactly.
All right. So Lady Diana, everyone liked Lady Diana. So this was a big deal. And so in California, Senate Bill 262 was introduced, and it created 1708.8. So this was a platform where the anti-drone law could be amended. If, in fact, you are indeed found liable for this physical invasion, then you can suffer some pretty serious consequences, including civil penalties. And civil penalties is it's a rare kind of a provision in laws, and I think it is misunderstood in a lot of different cases. So what happens is, if you are found liable under this breach of privacy, then the fines, they shall be, and what would happen is they would have to be brought in court by a county council or city attorney. All right? So you're flying over someone's home, and this person gets outraged. That you take videos of them they're in the backyard, say swimming, right? In the bathing suits. And so, filling all the other elements of the law, then if a county council or city attorney got involved, then what they would do is they would collect these fines, which can be significant. One half goes to the prosecuting agency. The other half shall be deposited in the Arts and Entertainment Fund, as the law says, which is hereby created in the state treasury. So that was back in 2012, the Arts and Entertainment Fund.
Interesting. Well, you know what? And you're probably going to look at me and go, we're not talking about that part yet. But so the airspace above a lot, is that just an invisible wall that goes directly up the property line into the clouds?
Yes.
And my question is then,
well
what
put.
happens if, say, you're a neighbor and you're flying your drone in your airspace, but the camera is recording someone else's lot? are you still potentially going to be held liable?
I think that's a great question, and the answer is it could by this law as well, because what this law says is that if you are taking photographs of someone else and you need to use something like a telephoto lens, some device to make it more capable of photographing than just the naked eye, then you would be liable. Now, let me finish up with the civil fines. So we talked about the civil fines. So they are not less than $5,000 and not more than $50,000. So that would be a real kick in the gut, right, to get civil fines. So I think the issue is going to be fulfilling the elements of the law in that people could accidentally fly drones around. And not all drones have cameras or video cameras, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's correct. Some people just fly them around, and because you would probably look up and maybe someone's just flying their remote control helicopter or their remote control toy aircraft. And that's something that people do for recreation. There's no harm. They're just out there on an open lot, just flying it around, having fun, playing with the controls. And the drones, aren't those more of a research device, or there's something that is actually recording something or taking video of something? They obviously don't have passengers, so that's where you can kind of distinguish the difference between a drone and maybe like a recreational toy, like a remote control plane or remote control helicopter.
Oh, I got where you're going.
You got where I'm going?
Yeah, they are all drones. They're all
classified as drones.
They're all classified as UASs or UAVs, right? Mm-hmm. Unmanned aircraft systems or unmanned aircraft
But
vehicles.
A lot of them serve a different purpose.
Yeah, but that is irrelevant. That's a great point, Jonathan, because that factor is irrelevant when it comes to whether you can be liable under that California statute.
Yeah, so you're probably not going to be liable if you don't have a camera on your drone or are recording or taking pictures of something.
Hang on, for that law.
For that law.
Right. But if you're going to be flying a drone and you fly over someone else's home,
trespassing.
Then nice. You could be arguably liable for trespassing because you said we all have that wall, right?
Invisible wall.
The invisible wall.
All right, we're going to go to break, and then when we come back, we're still going to try to figure this whole drone issue out. This is the Saturday HOA Brunch.
Having trouble understanding your community association's reserve study? Does your HOA's reserve study seem to be written in a strange language? Hi, I'm Robert Browning, owner of the Browning Reserve Group. At the Browning Reserve Group, we have been providing easy-to-understand reserve studies since 1999. We actually listen to our communities and help them plan for the future. Find us online at browningrg.com. That's browningrg.com, or toll free at 877-708-0600. That's 877-708-0600. Clarity from complexity, the Browning Reserve Group.
If you are a community association or manager, you know your banking relationship is vital to your success. At Sacramento Bank of Commerce, a division of Redding Bank of Commerce, our industry expertise and personal attention make that task a breeze. With our specialized banking, lockbox, online banking, and remote deposit capture, trips to the bank are no longer necessary. And Sacramento Bank of Commerce can help your communities with a loan to repair, replace, or upgrade the investment. For local decisions and in-house processing, get in touch with our team today. Call Sacramento Bank of Commerce at 916-772-0131. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Did you see the story about the Homeowners Association? I wonder what their residents think.
I don't know, but I love my condominium association. The place looks great and is well managed, and our property values are increasing.
Well, that's a good thing.
Community Associations Institute, CAI, has helped us build a great community. They have tools for safeguarding our investment, including education for our board and professional training for our manager. Just visit CAI at responsiblecommunities.com.
Okay, responsiblecommunities.com.
AM 1380, The Answer.
So, man, I'm trying to wrap my head around this whole 2012. We were talking during the break. This is when the federal drone law came in. This is when the federal government threw in the hammer and just said, hey, we're going to start really cracking down and regulating or starting to regulate drones.
Exactly. So what you have there is the FAA Modernization and Reform Act of 2012. So that came in 2012, and what that law, in its many, many pages, what it said in particular is, FAA, you need to start thinking about making laws to control this very popular activity that has some extremely serious and dangerous potentials. Right?
They do. No,
right?
they do. Accidents happen.
You have another story, right?
Accidents happen.
Yeah.
Well, I do have another story, but then I was just wanted to give a shout out to these guys that race these things through giant stadiums. Have you ever heard of those professional drone racing leagues?
I've heard of it. Haven't seen it though.
Yeah, I haven't. I haven't seen it either. But
all right, let me finish up. So what you have is, in 2012, the federal government comes out with this law, and they said, okay, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get things in order, and the deadline is going to be the end of 2015. All right, so, and the federal government did get its ducks in line, its drones in line to a certain extent, and there's registration. There's registration and there's certifications.
Might as well be, you got to do it for your car, you got to do it for your drone, right?
That's right.
Might as well get insurance for my drone, too.
That's right. And then in 2015, the state of California came up with this amendment to the anti-paparazzi law that said that you can also be liable for flying a drone over someone's home and photographing them when they're in a private situation.
Or recording. Yeah, same thing. Documenting what they're doing.
Right. So it is well, come on. Can there be anything else other than photographing or videoing?
Sound?
But would that actually work?
Well, maybe, possibly.
Of course it can work. With computers nowadays, you can pretty much do what you want. Those directional microphones, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the skinny of the law. So now let's, before we go to the federal law and the implications of registration certification, which is important, but with our board members and managers, what is more important to them to get their job done and to maintain and enhance the market values of their communities, right, is to see whether they want to actually adopt some rules, right?
They should. I think it'd be proactive of boards of directors with the way that the world is heading with technology to take advantage of Angius&Terry LLP services to revise their governing documents in regards to drones.
All right. So
that's my pitch and
you're
plug.
A little biased.
I am
okay?
a little biased.
I think it depends upon the type of community you are, though, right? So we have two types of communities. We have the condominium development on the one hand, and we have the planned development on the other. And the difference is you own an airspace as an owner, plus an exclusive use common area and a portion of the whole common area in a condominium development.
Right.
On the other hand, planned development, you own a lot as an owner, and the association owns the common area. So you own the dirt in a planned development, you own airspace in a condominium development. But I think, so those are two types, and so they different in their physical attributes, right? Think about if you're going to make a drone law, does it matter what your common area looks like and how big your common area is?
Well, I think it could. But I think it could be maybe cost effective for boards of directors to possibly let vendors use these types of this asset, right? A drone, for possibly doing reserve studies, or maybe
How would that work?
What do you mean?
How would you use a drone for a reserve study?
Well, if you had a huge common area that you needed to document, you could go out there with your drone, and instead of having to physically walk the whole property, you could stand in one spot under a nice shade tent with a cooler, and you could look at the roofs, you could look at the streets. You could, essentially fly over all of the common area.
So you're worried about
without
our
disrupting
reserve studiers,
well,
BRG group, right?
Well, no, but they have really.
You want to make sure BRG group is sitting in the shade. I think
that they can use it as an asset.
It's more than just convenience. I think it's efficiency as well.
Well, and also for safety, it's a lot safer to probably fly over the roofs than get a 32-foot ladder out and get on top of a 3-story condominium on a 100-degree day.
Great point.
Okay, and then I also think
could it be a better reserve study by doing that?
I think that there's probably the pros and cons. I'm not a reserve analyst, so I can't tell you what the pros and cons would be of using a drone.
Well, a reserve analyst's job is not to determine all the defects in the construction, right?
Correct.
But it is to know all the components.
Right, so that they can start saving for repair and replacement in the future.
Right. The fundamental aspect of a reserve study is to determine a couple aspects about an association's reserves. Required by law, every 30 years, an association must do a reserve study. Every year they must go ahead and update it. The idea, though, is the reserves are, what are the reserves, Jonathan?
The reserves are to repair and replace components throughout the community.
Right. The amounts of money that an association is required to save in order to maintain, repair, and replace the components that the association is responsible for.
There you go. That was, I could write that down and put that in the dictionary.
So you see BRG Group maybe having a drone and being able to really document, determine.
Oh, they've had them
all the
before.
components.
They've had them before, and I've seen them they were at trade shows a couple of years ago. Like, oh my gosh, how cool is this? Way to go, Bob. Way to go, Mike McDermott, staying ahead in the game and trying to utilize this new asset. And now it's kind of like, there's a little bit of a gray area here. There's not a lot of regulation. There's some liability, but I'm glad that the federal government's getting proactive with trying to, put some regulations together so that our friends, like the Browning Reserve Group, can utilize this tool.
Okay, so in that case, you're moving us on over to the federal law. What they have done, they require drones to be registered. So drones must be registered.
Well, that's okay. I can understand that.
Yeah, how can you register a drone? And you could go right to the Federal Aviation Administration website. And there's different websites also that will charge you a little bit more to do it, but it's electronic. It is all electronic as long as it's for non-business reasons.
You want a fun fact?
Absolutely.
From realtytimes.com. That's who we're going to give credit to. Fun fact for you. By 2020, I'm going to ask this question and see if you can. I'm going to throw the zinger out this morning. By 2020, how many drones do they anticipate will be used for all types of business purposes by 2020?
So business drones being used in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Business drones being used by businesses in the United States. And this is a prediction, and it's a prediction by who? This will help me figure it out. Who's predicting this?
realtytimes.com.
realtytimes.com.
Yep.
So I'm going, and we have 50 states, right?
Yeah, throw a number out there.
Okay, 7,500.
Way off.
Way off.
Way off. There's probably 7,500 in the state right now that are flying around illegally unregistered. For business purposes, anywhere between 20 and 30,000.
20 and 30,000.
4 years, there's going to be 20 to 30,000 drones flying around for business purposes.
So for some context, what do you think a business purpose is?
I think that realtors will probably use them. Maybe for, they have all these fancy websites now like Redfin and Zillow, and what you could do is kind of give a flyover of the conditions of the home and the full exterior, backyard, front yard, video, right? Everybody loves videos.
I have seen a
video.
drone-made video of a beautiful home being sold in a community association.
There you go.
By a community association member, an industry professional, and by virtue of this video, they were able to sell the home really quickly. It was fantastic. It was entertaining.
Well, I imagine it would be. Everybody now loves the new trend. And I'm sure once this is all dialed in and everyone knows how to register them and use them without getting into trouble.
All right. Well, let's talk about that, because you said business use, and I said, well, if you need to register a drone, and here's what the FAA says: if it weighs more than 0.55 pounds, which is 250 grams, and it's less than 55 pounds, which is 25 kilograms, then they must be registered through the United States federal government. They must be registered. And it's easy. You could do it if it's for personal, if it's for non-business reasons, then you could register it online. If it's for business reasons, you
got to take it down to McClellan and show the Air Force or what?
Yeah, that's another aspect.
Really?
That's the certification, but as far as registration, you have to do it by paper. So the great question that T. McPherson came up with was, what about board members and their use of these? What if they wanted to go ahead and they want to check for violations, right?
Oh,
right.
So they're going to come out and say, hey, you know what, you've got to...
Or what if they wanted to go ahead and use it for to determine whether their vendor, their painter, they hired someone to do painting or construction, to go ahead and check their work. Is that a business reason? What do you think? I mean, community associations are non-profit.
Wait a minute.
Non-profit mutual benefit corporations. They're non-profit. Do you still think it's a business reason?
Yeah, absolutely. So wait a minute. No, I'm thinking
because it's non-profit.
I'm just thinking of imagine some of our good board member friends calling their board meeting and saying, "Okay, everyone, we're going to meet in the common area. Joanne's going to fly the drone. What do they call those things the guy has on the aircraft carrier? The wands when someone's going to take up the paddles. Someone's going to have the paddles.
Thanks, Frank.
Then they're going to have a couple of other community members walking around, making sure that no one's out in the common area, just in case the drone goes down. And they have a drone flying meeting where they monitor all of the work that's being done throughout their community.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
All right. So we got a text, and the text was, what they heard us say is that you must register a drone if it weighs more than 0.55 pounds. They had two questions, actually, and then less than 55 pounds. What if it weighs more than 55 pounds?
That's a heavy drone. Bring a friend to help unload it out of the car.
It's not eligible. It weighs too much. You can't. It's not eligible for registration, and no, excuse me. No, you must register it by paper if it weighs more than 55 pounds. So this is the registration electronically.
Okay.
And the first one was, and I don't know the answer to this one. They say, well, what if it weighs less than 0.55 pounds, less than half a pound? And I don't know the answer. If anyone wants to call in and
have you ever seen a drone that light or heard of a drone that light? What'd you say?
I don't know that much about drones.
Yeah,
know, but
let me get on Amazon. We'll see what's the lightest drone I can buy, and then we'll see.
Yeah. So in order to register, you must be 13 years of age or older, and you must be a United States citizen or a legal permanent resident. Okay,
when we come back from the break, then why don't you throw a couple of nuggets out there for what you suggest community associations, boards of directors do to be proactive in regards to drones and
stay ahead of the game.
Stay ahead of the game. If you're a board member, learn how to fly a drone. I don't know, maybe. So we'll be back from the break for our last segment. And as always, after us, you can listen to the great Dr. Zazio.
Hi, I'm Morgan Fussell. My company, Broadband Agreements, negotiates cable television and broadband right of entry, access, and compensation agreements for your communities. At Broadband Agreements, we offer a free review of all agreements with a signed letter of authorization. Broadband Agreements will improve your community's income and/or savings, or you don't pay us a dime. Visit us at broadbandagreements.com. That's broadbandagreements.com. Or call me, Morgan Fussell, directly at 916-939-5026. That's 916-939-5026. Broadband Agreements online at broadbandagreements.com. or 916-939-5026.
The challenges presented by today's economy and rebounding housing market is forcing many homeowners association boards of directors to operate their HOAs more like a business. It's a balancing act of trying to stay solvent and still provide homeowners with quality amenities and services. One of the main challenges HOA boards are facing is attempting to recover unpaid HOA fees owed by delinquent homeowners. Collection efforts are often very time-consuming. If you want to get the HOA fees collection monkey off of your back, call ATC Assessment Collection Group. ATC is an attorney-supervised collection company providing collection and foreclosure foreclosure services to HOAs in both California and Nevada's most recognizable communities. Get back to what you actually volunteered to do as an HOA board member. Effectively oversee your community. Call ATC today at 916-641-1410. That's 916-641-1410. Online at atcacg.com. That's atcacg.com. ATC Assessment Collection Group. Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
This is AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
You know, I am really excited to know that we have a statistician or someone that can correct mistakes behind the scenes, and that's Frank Jolly. He's a military historian. And he said, "Young lad, I want to inform you," during the break. He goes, "McClellan has not had an Air Force staff or personnel there for the last 8 years. The closest Air Force company that we have is Travis Air Force Base in Vacaville."
So
I learned something new every day.
Well, you bring this up because last segment you were saying
take your drone down to McClellan.
Drone down there to McClellan, and they'll go ahead and
look at it for you. But the only ones
that
that
are certified, because it's business, you have to do more than just register it.
Yeah, the only ones that are going to look at it at McClellan
it has to be past an airworthiness test.
Yeah, the only ones looking at it at McClellan apparently are UPS, FedEx, or DHL. So now you learn something new every day for someone with life experience like Frank Jolly. All right.
So 3 aspects. So the first aspect is more of a question. And we're talking about community association rules and board of directors being proactive with respect to drones flying in their communities. And I think the idea is that you're gonna pass a rule, you're gonna adopt a rule just to protect the association. That needs to be the overarching reason to do so. And you need to determine, well, do we have a common area large enough actually in order to make it even feasible or
necessary.
Necessary. That's the better word for it. Okay, so we have that. Now,